posto. Il sole, vedi?
Ah sì, che servivo?
Tac.
Buon portero. Dai qualcun altro.
Hello and good morning. Welcome to Andorra for European Cup Giant Slalom action here. We are expecting big things across the World Cup Tour across the European Cup Tour today. It's going to be one of those where athletes will be wanting to put down a big performance. European Cup action. It is Giant Slalom. It is going to be a good old day. We have to say that there are 73 starters, a decent sized start list today. Something that the athletes will be aware. It should hold up though. It's nice and cold. Snow conditions should be good as we are taking a look at the course. And the weather, perfect conditions here in Andorra. We are hoping for a big old from the athletes. Hello, hello, hello. Is that any better? Let me know if that's better. Otherwise, this is basically last option, unfortunately. As we are in Soldeu in Andorra, we are ready for European Cup racing. It is going to be a busy day. 74 starters on the list. As the best ranked racer leading the European Cup standing is Lenz Hechler of Switzerland. They are the team that are in form on the World Cup Tour. They're also the team that is in form on the European Cup Tour, as well, as we can see. And hopefully, let's hope that we are ready to rumble, because I've got 40 seconds before the international feed kicks in. Hopefully, from your side of things, we're there, because this is as good as it's going to get, I'm afraid. Hopefully, you guys have got your techies on. It's worked here before, so this is... otherwise, maybe you have to do studio stuff. Maybe it's not quite ready for this tech just yet. Ten seconds. You got taking cues from you guys. Let's see what we're doing.
If you feel it, it's yours. The Infinite Winter, Gran Valera.
Des de zona d'arribada, cada vegada està arribant més gent interessada per saber com acaba aquesta cursa. Soroll, Andorra! I'm making it happen! I'm making it happen!
Well, welcome to Soldeu. It is giant slalom action here, as we are going to be racing 73 starters here today, and it is going to be a tough old day of races. Very, very busy field. Snow conditions are fantastic. Everything looking primed and ready to go. It's decent altitude. The athlete's fitness is going to be tested from top to bottom. The French team have set the course, as you can see from these graphics. Plenty of a high octane action here, 48 turns. It is a physical challenge at decent altitude, meaning that physical as well as technical abilities will be tested to the fullest. As we can see, a little bit breezy, flags fluttering in the finish area, and the pines on the trees are fluttering as well. Cold, nice and cold. Conditions should hold up from start to finish, as we have, it is Erasmus Backvig that is kicking us off today. He's doing well in the standings as well. There are the standings. Backvig in joint third with Vitale. Leading the way is Lenz Hechler. As we drop down the orders, a smattering of World Cup stars are in this field. Stefan Lutz, former World Cup winner, there you go, bib number 25. And then points been scored by some of the racers further down the start list, but not that often, certainly not regulars into the points. Fadri Juantin, he's picked up World Cup points. He did it on home snow in the World Cup in Adelboden.
Julie, start this.
Yes, Bim.
Just another one will be DNS, BIP 72 will be DNS today.
A couple of did not starts, just so it sounds like we're a couple short of a full field of 73 starters. Alexei Albert Serencanta is going through his warm-up routine. The Spaniard 6th in the standings. What is he? He is 99 points. He is the last person within 100 points of our leader, Lenz Hechler, in the rest for the standings. There is number one. Kicking us off it is going to be Rasmus Backvig. Tobias Kasselunger on the points so far this season on the World Cup Tour, but he's wanting to keep his European Cup hopes alive. Quillen Fair, he's also been on World Cup, failed to score points just yet. World Cup Tour. Over at Secantera, there he is. Just saw him doing his warm-up routines at the top of the run here. Within 5. Andre Drukov, again, another regular on the World Cup Tour, still not able to transfer the form from the European Cup, from the EC Tour to the World Cup Tour. Then our leader in the standings, Heikler, leads by 6-3 points over the rest of the field, starting to become substantial as we are towards the halfway point of the season. Simon Telaki goes with number 8, and Mauerberger, Friedrich Schwantin, Oscar Andreas Sandvig. So some decent names that we are used to seeing on the World Cup Tour that are coming onto the European Tour and starting to really find their feet. Often it takes more times than doesn't. It takes a little bit of a lag before these guys that are producing on the European Tour start to produce on the World Cup Tour. Just the nature of having to deal with the changing of conditions, the difficult World Cup piece. The European Cup Tour, very healthy competition, just doesn't quite have, obviously, the glitz and glamour that we see on the World Cup Tour, which means just that extra little bit of pressure. It's interesting, isn't it, how you go from being a small fish in a will go to being a small fish in a big pond, from being a big fish in a small pond, like these top names on the European Cup Tour. Plenty of talent all the way down. Edward Hallberg, what a performance he's been putting on the slalom skis on World Cup. Eric Reed, likewise. Matteo Fevre still struggling, former world champion, going with bib 47. It's a tough old field. Ryder Sarchet also in there. Look at some of these names. Hugh McAdam racing on the World Cup Tour so far this season. As we look down, we are expecting most of these guys to start. We already heard that we're missing a couple of athletes from the starts, but 73 are on the list. But we're hearing, I think we heard from the FIS 3 there. Did he say 72? Wasn't it at start today? We'll soon find. That won't be too long. 2 runs, and we're bringing you all the action on the European Cup Tour. And unlike World Cup, 60 get to start the second run. It's still 30 through to 1, and then we race 31 through to 60 on the second run. So it is still going to be a long second run. As we take a look at the athletes getting ready. Trust stay cool, calm, and collected. Making sure the joints are warm. It's cold. It is cold. There is our leader on the World Cup Tour, Heikler. Some very, very consistent results on the tour so far this season. Really has been the man to beat and has a substantial lead, 62 points, all pretty tight behind him, but he has got the run of things at the moment. 63 points, starting to give himself a decent buffer. It is an absolutely fantastic result over in Soldeu. Not a lot of coverage, but the coverage on the hills is great. It's still been cold enough, so artificial snow, making sure that there's deep coverage. If you're heading to Andorra this season, it is certainly a great place to go and see lots of very underrated skiing over in Andorra and Soldeu. There's hosted World Cup finals, multiple occasions, hosted World Cups as well, and the European Cup Tour regular here in Soldeu. Obviously, plenty of really good real estate to ski. It's one of those places where such good spirits. It's been a couple of moments away from the start now, hoping for big moves from the main players. So quality racing going to be here. Hill is good, the steepness, the gradient, everything looking good, shaping us up to be a real backer. Drukov still been putting in performances on the Open Cup Tour, hasn't been able to find the speed on the World Cup Tour. Interesting, these are the places where you want to try and get your start number down so you can start into the early 30s on the World Cup Tour. So much talent on the World Cup.
7 in the finish. The second round you up number 2 possible? Okay, yeah, I try to remember.
couple of moments away now. We're just running a tiny bit behind schedule. So it kicked off at 1 o'clock, but 9 o'clock, so it's 9:01 at the moment. Jury just going through a last-minute check. Hopefully everything is A-OK. Cold and sunny, perfect conditions to be racing on the EC Tour. There's our standings leader, Lenza Haefler. A bit of daylight between himself and these fellow challengers for the European Cup Tour title. The halfway point, getting right into the thick of this season, really.
Estamos saliendo en la tele. Salimos en la...
Perfect conditions, really nice. Bit of shade through the steep part, which means that should hold up through the full list of runners and riders, really. A couple of generous, no doubt. El Tata, the resort within, the hill within Soldeu, where we're racing. I'm not sure why, but we're running a bit behind schedule here. Expected to kick off on the hour. We are now a few minutes behind. Last minute adjustments to the bindings as we see Kulan Favre going through his last bit. Still waiting to get this one done. Tobias Castellan with great guns on the World Cup Tour in the points multiple occasions as it comes down with bib number 2. Probably him and in the early stages anyway, probably the guy that we most used to seeing on the World Cup Tour. Stefan's former World Cup winner down the order, picked up points over in Saalbach in the night giant run that we had just a week ago on the World Cup Tour. He goes with bib number 23, and these due to European Cup points, so the top 30, the points, the start numbers decided by the points that the athletes have accrued over the season and some of last season as well. So that's why somebody like Stefan Lutz, who's got points on World Cup Tour, has got a World Cup win to his name, starts a little bit lower down the order because he's starting on World Cup, European Cup points. Let's see, as we are, looks like we are finally ready. 5 minutes behind schedule or so. Bib number 1, Rasmus Backvig for the Norwegian team. Pretty consistent on the EC Tour. Still waiting for a start here. Wouldn't get a job of Swiss Railways, would they? As we are 5 minutes behind schedule. Let's get cracking. Races are ready. They've been ready for ages. As we see view from the start. Starter closes the one. One last time out on turn out. There's the Austria. Finds himself. Oh, slipping. Skis are too slippery. He's starting to go backwards. And we're underway here. It is European Cup racing. Great to have some live coverage that we can all sink our teeth into. The European Cup Tour as they're hotly contested, and it's a very, very competitive field. Let's see what the French team set. Something quite turny in the midsection as we see Backvig just losing his outside speed, just coming towards that transition phase, and a tiny bit late he comes down onto the flat. 20 seconds in and over into the shade. The shade really making it tricky. It's much darker than we're being shown on the TV screens, the television cameras are always doing a great job of just illuminating the track for us here. If you're watching it on our TV screens or our computers and iPads, but for the athletes, much darker in real life. Oh, this is much nicer down the bottom. Now down and over the rollers, working with the terrain well as the Norwegian comes down towards the bottom of the run. Oh, but he's missed the gate and he's out. Didn't quite cut to that one a bit too late. Hopefully we'll get a replay of exactly went wrong, because that had one last time out. Chases up with a not finished down on his inside ski. We saw glimpses of that on the steeper turns towards the top of the run, and unfortunately didn't heed the warnings, and he is out. Tobias Kaslunger pushing out of the start gate, 20, there you go, 22nd in champion on the World Cup Tour. Definitely the guy that's got the most history. He's certainly got the most points so far this season on the World Cup Tour, and he's trying to bring that into his Giant Slalom European Cup form. Slightly late again in that transition, coming down from the flat. We saw that from Bakker, and actually, obviously, Bakker didn't finish. Bakker failed to finish, but if he had finished, Tobias Kaslunger would find himself 8/10 a second behind to that first time intermediate. And we're coming down towards the next indicator at 42 seconds, just to show you how quick Bakker was as we come down. Nice work over this train. This is where Bakker really put in some performance, and that was 1 point. He's 1.26 down on the time of the early turn set by the Norwegian, but then the Norwegian failed to finish from here, just went down onto his inside ski. Much better, much more solid from the Italian, but shows you just how quick Bakker was going, because he was at this run from Kaslunger to that last in time indicator, finds himself 1.26 of a second behind as we come towards the bottom. Sets our target time. Now we've got a target time of 1:13.60. 1:13.60. Apologies, a couple of connection issues here, but we see this is Guillaume Febvre now coming into that last pitch. Some tough turns. The French team have set course, and they're hoping that Febvre would have got a bit of a better run of it, but he's late and he's out. Oh, only two DNS out of the first three. Kaslunger looking very comfortable in the fish area, and again, more disappointment. Coaches and athletes will be frustrated, especially when your coach sets the course. You expect to get a better read. Just coming over, it's dark, it's icy, it's steep this final run in, but Febvre couldn't find the speed, couldn't find the line as we head back up to the top for Alexei Ober-Serrancanta. Spaniard will be feeling comfortable with the language, obviously, here. Great to be travelling on into Soldeu. We see Ober-Serrancanta up at the first split. Half a second to the good skiing, good work from Spaniard. This is the dark, tough turns, fall away on that left foot, really to stay committed, as you can see. Coming down, well, he's carrying some speed as he comes towards the flat section. .65, and this is an exceptional run as he comes down to, oh no! Big mistake just coming over onto the final steep. .26, he's thrown away all that advantage. You expect to see get less as well, because that's a big mistake just through that time indicator. Now coming towards the last couple of turns, and Kaslunga surely still the lead here. How much does Kaslunga lead by? Whoa, much closer than I thought. Into second position. 50% finish rate at the moment. As we can see, disappointment because it was a cracking run. Really good. Then just another racer not fully committed to outside. Maybe just a tiny bit slick underfoot than they expected. Rukarov picked up the penultimate race with that double header and turnout. Whoa, getting late in that transition as well. Not able, like all the athletes, we've seen that from a few of them. Expect to see that message go back to the top, that there is a tough couple of turns on this hill. Really need more commitment over the outside ski. Much darker, much more compact, much more slick underfoot. 0.2 of a second the advantage that Rukarov holds coming through that first time indicator. Again, some good more turns in the middle section. Definitely utilising the terrain nicely. 0.48, good advantage for the Lithuanian. These are the turns. 0.58 now. Solid over his outside ski. Now coming towards 0.6 of a second and holds on to that lead. Not quite as clean as we saw from Kaslunga through those final turns, but had out of the 3 finishes, 5 started, 3 finished. Drukarov leads the way by 0.2 of a second in front of Kaslunga, and a further 0.1 of a second behind Kaslunga over Serenket, as we see Lovren Parand onto the hill. Course has been set by his coach. Let's see if he can put in a nice and aggressive work through these top turns. Got to try and stay a bit more on it through these transitional turns. More mistakes from the athletes. Again, that message not getting back to the top. Lost an arm guard as he comes towards this midsection. Let's see how Perand is able to deal with these turns through the middle. We saw good turns from the Lithuanian leader over this middle section. Everybody still not able to put in a top to bottom clean. Perand now finds himself with work to do. 0.35 behind. That was where we saw Bakvig go down, having picked up a really quick time. Now losing more time than we saw. The Lithuanian had 0.6 of a second here, and then only ended up crossing the line with a 0.2 of a second lead. So definitely space to do this bottom section better than our leader. And that's a nice tidy finish. Is he been able to claw any time back? He's clawed back a bit of time into third position, 0.26 behind. European Cup Tour leader Lenz Heichler on course for the Swiss team. Been consistent on the tour, won twice, and let's see if that consistency can be rewarded. Look at that, massive advantage early doors. No wonder this guy's been leading the tour, looking very comfortable right at the top of the turn, looking extremely happy through this middle section with 12.58, and that is a very healthy advantage. And expect to see him. Oh, he's lost a bit of time. Gets twisted up. Let's see. Hasn't cost him any time. So, oh, that's going to cost him some time. Late coming over the brow of the roll, and needs to stomp on his skis here. Back to a decent size advantage, and we. Oh no, he's travelled. Oh, an absolute disaster for the leader. Was 0.63. He was 63 points ahead of the rest of the tour at the coming in today. He just turned too early. Quite able to see it from here. Tried to drift his way in as he looked to try and control the line down the steep final section, and that's blown the tour wide open. The Swiss team, so many athletes having difficulties on this hill. Certainly testing the world's best. Talaki picked up form in Slalom, qualified for the second run. Not going too bad on the European Cup Tour either. Let's see if he can keep a bit more height in this transitional phase. The message looks like it might have back to the top because that's a better execution. Later line, but still managing to arc his way through. Comes down, expect to see some good turns through the middle section. Oh, but he's got himself some work to do. Maybe just controlling the speed too much. The athlete's really finding it difficult to find the perfect blend on this hill. .34, work to do. Let's see if Talaki is able to find anything. It's looked a little bit scrappy. Oh, it's not able to find any. It's lost a chunk of time, lost over a second between those two turns, and that's not even the quickest that we've seen through this section. Drukarov still leads, but only 4 have made it to the finish out of 7 starters. About to make it 8, hopefully, try and bump up that finish percentage. Oh, but Talaki finding it difficult to stay clean on his skis. Certainly, the snow surface is exceptional. This is the type of hill that really separates those guys really in form to those not quite able to find it. Talaki down into 5th position, 1.9, nearly 2 seconds behind. Simon Mauberger, Altabadir points his first points so far of the season on World Cup Tour terms. Plenty of experience on the World Cup Tour and the European Cup Tour now. Should be able to really get into the mix of it. This hill, really good. What a great hill this is. And the European Cup, that's the thing with the European Cup Tour. It's a tour that's trying to blood these guys ready for World Cup action. And hills like this really do it because it's a tough hill. We've got no space for these car park hills where it's so far away from World Cup. This could easily be a World Cup hill, it's easy peasy because it has got everything. 0.03 of a second down the first minute, losing a bit more time. A couple of those judder ruts on the steeper turns into those transitional phases, making it more difficult for these racers. Big drift as he comes over into this next mini pitch. Needs to try and stop the rot, needs to try and get back in touch. It's gone the wrong way. 1.17. Hard work on these hills, hard work on those skis. The setup needs to pinpoint perfectly, but you've still got a risk. Nice bit of risk those last couple of turns, but you have to say, thankfully he's clawed back a little bit. Time was 1.17 down at 1.83. The difference between him and Drukarov. Drukarov going better and better, even though Drukarov had some mistakes in that bottom part, he still holds on to the lead. Fadri Juantin came close to picking up points in Alboden on home snow in the World Cup there. Really getting the opportunity from the Swiss team to start more World Cup resorts. And let's see if that can find the confidence on the European Cup Tour. A little bit further down the tour standings than he would have hoped, but that's because he's prioritising World Cup at the moment. You can see why. Solid turns on those fall-away gates, looking absolutely rock solid. Gets jetted out, but then managing to get the skis back underneath him exactly where it wants it to be. 0.32 the advantage of that top intermediate. They all lost a lot of time getting catapulted up and into the air. Losing ski and snow purchase means he became a bit of a passenger. We've lost him. Here he is as he rolls over. One more time indicator, and we know there's time to be made up against our leader in through his last section. Let's see if Fadri could get back in turn. 0.81 behind at the moment. It's about trying to pick out where you can release the ski. This is good work from Fadri. Now down towards the bottom as he tries to make up a bit of time. 0.81 he was, and now down to 0.28. Nice tidy closeout right in the mix here. The top 5 separated by 3 tenths as Juantin goes into 4th position, just over a quarter of a second behind at the moment. Good skiing, great reward for some quality turns towards the bottom. No one's been able to live with the speed, have they, of our leader through that middle section, though, as we see Oscar Andreas Sandvik, another racer that is trying to find his form in the World Cup Tour. Plenty of starts, no points on the board in World Cup. He's been on the podium for the first time this season in GS, but you can see very, very late coming towards those transitional turns. somehow still got a green light, but you end up paying for that the lower down that you go, just because the speed is not quite there. Let's see how he gets on. Kind of 0.21. Nine hundredths of a second now to try and find. We see him coming over onto the steep, 1700ths of a second. This is good. Can't afford a mistake. Oh, he's made a mistake. There's time to be made back up, isn't there, in terms of what the athletes have got to do down this last section. Really good, really tidy. Can he make up for those errors? Oh, it's a shame. Good turns right down the bottom.
Position 6 for Oscar Andreas Salmi from Norway, 1:14.01. The gap is 0.61 with current leader Andrei.
Drukarov still leads, as we see next starter. Simon Selag, next up for the Norwegian team. Relaxed turns early doors, 0.15 behind. .94, just getting away from him. Like I said, there's definitely time to be found in those lower turns. But let's see how he gets on as he comes over. Oh, he's given himself a real uphill battle as he tries to find something through these last few turns. 1.37, there's time to be found if he can keep it clean and tidy. But hopefully for him, he'll find a little bit to get himself into the mix here. Found a bit of time. Only a tenth of a second or so, 1500ths of a second in those last few turns. Just paying for those types of errors in the transitional phases. Matthias Roengren, another racer, has picked up points on the World Cup. Second in the last round in turnout. It's giant slalom form, and he's got points on the World Cup tour as well. Let's see if Roengren can get the better and find the touch. Just these top turns with these drifts that the athletes are putting in, making it a bit more difficult to find the speed and find the tempo through these early gates. But at the moment, got that green light, looking comfortable. Oh, don't go too direct now. Don't undo all the hard work they put in through those tough turns. Fall away gates, being very difficult for Oengren at the moment. Smooth and silky smooth through these middle turns. Maybe not quite that same intensity, but he's giving himself a mix. He wants to be within, with any luck, if he can make up a tiny bit of time here and then stay clean tidy through the rest of the run, he's got an opportunity to find his way in. 0.85, there's definitely 3/10 at least that can be made up if you ski clean, but he's not skiing clean. Late in the line, surely that will see that deficit grow. At 0.85, it started so well for the Swede. Now comes through these last couple of turns, some late runs on the middle of the steep, still manages to find a bit of time, 600ths of a second, considering that mistake on that final pitch. He might be ruining, not skiing as clean, not quite able to stay ahead of the game. Alban Elezi Canafana, another athlete that's picked up points on the World Cup Tour, third in GS on the European Cup Tour as well over in Zinal, and that World Cup form starting to come. Just hoping that the coaches have set something that really suits him. It's explosive, it's dynamic through these top turns. It's a little erratic, but he's on full charge. He's hunting early doors on this run. Gets the reward for full attack on those top turns. 0.37, very healthy advantage. Former world junior champion in top form. Great top section, that dynamic ski racing. It's a little loose, it's a little wild, but it's quick. 900ths of a second behind our Lithuanian leader. Drukarov has led quite some time now. Let's see if anybody can get in touch. Needs to try and stay close. Within what's it? Within 3/10, you've still got a good chance. Half a second now. Seen a couple of athletes pick up some big margins. That's putting yourself right in the mix. Stay clean, stay tight. Has he got the energy levels left? He's been putting in some tough turns. He's been putting some explosive skiing. Nice risky run down to the bottom. This could be going very quick. And into second position, really tidy down at lower turns. And Elise Canafanara has put in an absolute cracker for the French team. Slots into second, just in front of Tobias Kassler. Now has dropped down to third. Back up to the top, Adam Hofstede for the Swedish team, third in the European Cup. Let's see how he gets on coming through these early turns and looking relaxed, looking smooth. Got a green light. We've seen quite a few athletes have a green light on Drukarov, but then Drukarov tell the afterburners in the middle section. Made a couple of mistakes at the top, a couple of mistakes at the bottom, but in the middle section there's, oh dear, and he's out. Another racer bites the dust here. Plenty of DNFs. It is a tough hill, but that is our 1, 2, 3, 4 DNF. Just getting catapulted out at the end of the turn. Tough hill, but these athletes, giving it too much respect. See a lot of errors from experienced athletes on the tour. There's our leader, Andrei Drukarov. Looking very comfortable with that lead. It's tight behind him though. He is, what is he? He's 1600ths ahead of Canafanara, who's in second position. Tobias Kassler in third, 2/10 behind. At the top six, separated by 3/10. Then there's a bit of a jump. Oscar Andreas Sandvig in seventh position, over 6/10 behind. So that's where it jumps, between 6 and 7 at the moment. Back up to top then for Eric Heisad Solberg, another racer that has been putting in the starts on the World Cup Tour, yet to find points though in the World Cup. So let's see if he can continue just to pick up some good results. And this early work from Solberg. Needs to really be careful of the outside skis. A couple of fall away. The top turns, it falls away on the right foot. These middle turns, it falls away on the left foot. So you really have to be able to stick with your technique. Make sure that you stay compact over your outside skis, because these ice conditions, nice and cold here in Andorra, in that the snow surface is really going to hold up, but it's challenging, really tricky. Great hill, great for the racers to come and show what they've got. There's a bit of a drift coming over, and you can see a couple of little tracks on courses for some of these turns. Solberg, bang touch though, 0.27. You could easily see this light going green at the bottom, but he's made a big mistake in the middle. Surely can't make up time, having made a decent error with the line choice. He's letting it run out, but how costly could that run be? Oh, third position for Solberg, who was going very well. Slightly late on a couple of turns as he came into that section, and unfortunately not able to get the green light, but he's still right in the mix, shaping up very nicely on this second run. 3 podiums for Fischbacher in this season, and a bit of a drift, trying to cut the line. Oh, and he's getting late at the bottom. What's the top split saying? He's been aggressive, hasn't he? Not quite able to be maybe as clean as he would have hoped for. 0.26 of a second, not too bad as he comes over on the, considering it's been very scrappy.
Racer suís, posició 12, per Marco Fischbacher, 14,95.
Bridger Guile on course 22 starts in the World Cup top. No points for him just yet. Some good turns and some good opportunities here today. After Fishback had dropped down the order into 12th position, and see if the American team can find anything here. 700th second early on. We know that the course is going to hold up lovely conditions here in Andorra. Half a second to try and find Guile. Bit cautious coming over that roll. Oh, and a massive mistake, and he's down. And is he out? Well, he seems to think he went the right side of the course. And not being able to read the terrain changes, not been able to find the touchdown hit. Definitely not one to remember. Got caught up, hooked up. Must have made it around the right side of that gate, otherwise he would have continued. Back up to the top then, Patrick Kenny picked up points on the World Cup Tour. His first European Cup start mid-January, but he's picked up points. Well, he made it onto a second run over on home snow in the United States of America at Beaver Creek World Cup Giant Slalom, but hasn't been able to pick up any World Cup second run since then. And considering how late he's been in the line, to only be 1700ths of a second off, but that's surely going to change now. More late skiing and he's out. Well, racers find this one really, really difficult. Career best 8th place for the Norwegian, Mikkel Remzi. We've seen plenty of athletes really struggle on the hill here. Plenty of athletes. With number 21, we've only got 13 through to the finish. And Remzi having a couple of issues. Bang in touch early on though. Let's see if he can find the line a bit easier, because at the moment it's just about getting away from in the middle section. Comes towards the next time indicator. Crucial split coming up to see if he can stay close. 9/10 of a second behind, or just leaving himself with a bit of work to do. Doesn't really want to get towards this next split with too much more of a deficit. We know that there's time to be found in the lower turns. Big drift, big plume of snow. Whoa, 1.7, not going to make up anywhere near that type of margin. Stays high. And 1.36, thankful for him anyway. Puts himself a bit closer, 1.7 down to 1.3. Not a bad effort through those last few turns. Back up to the top for Albert Ortega. World Championship started in his career. 19 hundredths of a second, still in touch. Needs to work hard over these rolls, try to get the terrain changes right. Oh, 1.35, a bit further than he was hoping for. And maybe just now that the rats through the track. Good turns in that closeout as he found some time. No, lost some more time into 15th. That has got to be, is that the slowest so far? It is the slowest so far. Well, plenty of athletes have struggled down this hill. It's a great hill, got everything in it, all that you expect and hope to see. Diogo Oriccioni next on course. French team, don't forget, set this course. Let's see if Oriccioni can get into the mix. Best of the French is Elise Canafanaro, in big 14th position. Look at that, very good advantage. These are the fall away turns, need that full commitment. Need that little bit of trust. Need to try and cut these drift at the top of the turnout. Comes towards the next time indicator. Just so quick across these flat turns, really did get into this one, and he's still got an advantage. Oriccioni flying through this middle part of the course, and again, if he can come to the top of this next pitch with a green light, surely the lead is his. Oh no, he's down again. Big mistake. 0.72 now. Somehow he's still in, but don't let the mistakes creep in. You've got to wipe those away. And again onto his inside ski. Well, he could have easily continued there. Looks like he's hurt himself a bit. Still had an opportunity to pick up points here. That's a big mistake at the top. Didn't lose that much time. I mean, yes, of course that will lose, but when you're considering that we've had plenty of people struggle on this hill. Right, former World Cup winner, Stefan Lutz. He's been on the point so far, 2 World Cups so far this season. So, finding that old form a couple of times on the World Cup Tour. Now trying to pick up a bit more consistency. Make sure that he's in the mix and in the running on the European Cup Tour. Let's see how he gets on some early turns. Lovely, good, committed, as you expect. So much history against his name. Quarter of a second in front. Working really well through these turns in the middle part of the racetrack, and he stay with a green light. This is where Zuccarov really found something special in this section, and from the next intermediate to the bottom, 0.65. Lost a lot of time in those transitions for Lutz. .65 next time indicator. If he's under sort of 6/7 tenths or 1.1. Needs a really quick closing section. Needs to really commit to the outside ski. We judder up, making the athlete ski a little bit further away from the gate. Can he find something? Can he get under the second? Needs to get under a second, really. Can charge his way on that second. Ooh, lost time. Not many have lost time to Drukarov through those last few, shaking the head. And not the run that he was hoping to produce. Livio Simone next on course. This racer, this 24, another racer. Simone name, very prevalent in the World Cup. Aggressive, look at this. Risk. That's been the name of the game from the top turn so far. And what's the reward? Can he be ahead? Just a little bit behind. 0.08 of a second. Ooh, close to finding that inside ski earlier than he wanted to. But managed to really get back on top of his outside ski nice and early. Smoothly does it. Lovely stuff. This is great skiing from Livio Simone. Comes over, finds the edge nice and early. Can we be within half a second? Would be great. 7/7. There's definitely an opportunity for him to stay in the mix here because, pushed onto the heels. Big mistake on that final steep. as he is definitely trying to squeeze his way into under half a second would be exceptional. Can he find the top 10? Oh, 11th position. Good run from Bib 24 to find himself into 11th position. Some great sections through there and finding the touch. Definitely in form and an outside shot for a second run charge, just over a second behind. Davide Leonardo Steppi. 18 World Cup starts for him in his young career. Move turns, same as what we just saw from Simone on that top split. Loses the outside ski, that's a disaster. All these coaches we've been telling the athletes working hard, trying desperately to find the touch. Of course they are, they're just not quite able to deal with these side hills, deal with the pressures, and onto his inside ski.
From Italia leads 1:13.40, second place Alpine. Vai, Franci!
26 is on board. Can't be slowly, prepare your course crew. But after mid-30 we go to 45 seconds. You ready? We'll go back.
And finish line for Sogini, position 18.
Zucchini for Italy, decent run for him, 2.21 back, but now on to Samuel Bissig, former point scorer on the World Cup Tour. He hasn't won on the European Cup Tour since 2021, but he's been focusing in on his World Cup Tour, but he hasn't been able to establish himself as a consistent point scorer. So maybe coming back to focus on the European Cup Tour gives him a better base, gives him a better stance in which to try and charge through. Not the best bib number, but some great skiing through this middle section, 0.64 off. If you can be a second-ish on this final intermediate, there's still time to be found in the closeout to this run, but you need to stay on the line. You can't afford to be late as he comes over, breaks over, 0.98, a mistake coming at the top of the steep. If you're going to make a mistake, that's probably the mistake that you want to make at the top, so that you can just help control your speed, if anything. So it really doesn't affect it too much, as long as you have a clean closing section. As Bissig with a good run here, the Swiss racer into 12th position, 1.19 behind, and that's decent from 27th on the start list, showing that he's got some moves that got late. That's going to have been costly, obviously going to cost him some time. Hannes Zingele next on course. see how Zengele can go. Again, another racer that's got World Cup points in his history, not from this season though. And let's see if he's able to find the touch. The Italian team, best of those is Tobias Castellinger, went down with bib number 2, then Simon Mauberger in 10th position. Nice healthy advantage for Zengele. Oh, needs to stump on his outside ski through these fall-away turns. 0.22 off as we see him coming down towards the middle section, and let's see what he can do with this top split. Decent top split, 0.22 off, now finds himself 0.22 behind. It's not too bad from Zengele. Needs to stay in the hunt, stay in the mix here, stay on top of these turns, coming towards the last time indicator. Again, anything under a second gives you a great opportunity. Oh, 0.53, great stuff. Wants to stay on the line. This could even get the lead back from here. We've seen athletes make up a good few tenths on this final steep, but this final steep now just starting to get cut up. Nice finish from Zengele as he charges down through the line. Lost a little bit more time rather than gained any, but into 8th position gives himself a really good opportunity to get into the mix. Great stuff. Federico Toscano next on course for the Swiss team. How's he got on in these early splits? Course, very tricky course with the terrain that's here in Soldeu. The French team have set, really challenging the racers, but proving that they're getting a good showing of things. Half a second behind was Toscano. Trying to stay low and aerodynamic. What brilliant snow conditions here. The local organising committee have got a dream surface to work with here. Lots of hard work, but also getting the reward. But 1.15 off, then the mistakes creeping in on those flatter turns. Let's see if he can cut those mistakes out, because if he keeps making these mistakes, another mistake going to be costly. There it is, costly. At 2.32 behind. And round these last couple of turns, hasn't had quite so many errors, but still a run littered with errors as Toscano into 21st position, 2.63 behind. Iron them out of the gate quickly, aren't we? Sandro Zubrug next on course, another racer with a name that we've seen on the World Cup Tour so far this season. Haven't seen him into the points though. So back to the drawing board, back to the building blocks that the European Tour fulfills for a lot of these athletes. Very late coming across that transition. Really costly place to make an error at 6/10 of a second behind. Smoothly does it. Has the damage already been done for Zubrug? 1.06 behind. We are getting through a bit quicker with the start intervals now as we reach the end of the top 30. The end of the top 30. Top 30 points, like it is in the World Cup, are done on tour points, ranking points, so European Cup points for this specific race. And then from 31 through to the end of the fields on FIS points. So still works like that, as the same as it does on World Cup Tour. As we see Zubrug go down and out, and the course worker, I'm sure his heart rate would have just blipped a little bit as he saw Zubrug hair at him. And on to Simon Fournier, the Canadian. Again, another racer that's been putting in World Cup starts, but it's going pretty well. And funny, isn't it, going on to the European Cup Tour? Definitely not quite seeing as much fight from these athletes. Not sure whether they're really treating this as much as I'm sure Fournier would have put in a bit more hunt, a bit more charge had this been a World Cup than that throwaway finish. Valkvist next on course. What's he up? These tell you it's on my screen. There you go, 0.62. Not the quickest through that first time indicator. Just again stand on his skis. Again, another racer that's been putting in the World Cup starts as well this season, trying to find the look for the track. That's these races, even though it's not speed. You often talk about World Cup downhill and Super G, especially talking about learning the hills, but still a concept and still a plan that is held on the giant slalom skis. Obviously, it's slightly less on slalom skis. The slower the discipline, the less that the hill plays its part in it. A 1.65 behind on that last time indicator. Still an opportunity to make up time on our leader through this final section. A tenth or two would be handy for Jesper Valkvis as he comes down towards the finish line, but scrappy on this steep section. Not sure if he's going to find any time. He hasn't. He's lost time, and he's 2.12 behind. Hans Graal Madsen, next of the Norwegians. As ever, the Norwegian team always putting in the big numbers on the start list and great pedigree on the tour. 0.28 off on that first split. Smoothly does it. Tries to find the blend. The Judderats, we can't see him from the distance of our cameras, but I tell you, guarantee, especially on those steep sections, the Judders will be playing their part and forcing the racer slightly further away from the gate. Decent run from Graal Madsen into 18, 1.88 behind. And, second away from a top 10, basically, at the moment. Physical. The altitude high, over 2,000 meters at the top of the run. And 113. Quality left at the top. All looking for points today. Too many Austrians here. No Austrian representation. Knowles Wiesenbrugger was supposed to be on the start, didn't start. Let's see if I think that was that. No, that was bib 37, wasn't it? Let's see if the Austrians are still here, because at the moment we haven't seen a single Austrian, which is a little bit odd. Lewis Mullenschultz, the Australian, picked up points last season on the World Cup Tour. Great to see him pick up his first World Cup points, and looking to try and just keep the racing sharp as he heads into, I'm assuming that he heads to World Championships in Saalbach. Whoa, very direct through these top turns. A lot of pressure happening to go on those skis at the end of the turn. And in doing so, mistake on that transitional phase, and not through lack of effort, not through lack of risk. The Australian finds himself 0.8 of a second off with a bit of work to do. Great stance on his skis, doesn't he? When he's right by the gate, nice and solid underfoot. Great body position, just keeps getting, that pressure comes on quite quickly and just sort of tends to hit him in the back at the end of the turn, and therefore makes it more difficult for him to use that speed and transition into the next turn. Let's see if he can somehow stop that rot. He's lost the second between intermediate 1 and intermediate 2. Wants to be a bit closer than that. 2.41 behind. Scrappy again on these steep turns. Oh, he's pushed onto the heels, riding switch. That's not a way to get down to the bottom of the run quickly. Like to think on his feet, but not to be. 4.05 off 24th position. Back up to the top. Well, it is our first Austrian. Not sure what's going on with the Austrian team. Why we're not seeing so much on the hill. Back up to the top. We will see him through the first section, then drop down early doors. 1.22 off for Ryder from the Austrian team. None of the Austrians, not in the mix on the tour standings either. $1.8 behind. And 2.77 behind. Delio Kunz of the Swiss team. Decent split on that top section, 0.37 behind. You have to say that now with the course that's deteriorated, 37, nearly 40 starters, and he's only lost, look at that, 300s between intermediate 2 and 3. This is looking great for Kunz. Can he find something special in his last group? How much energy has he got left in his legs? Because it's a big finish here, and he's obviously expelled a lot bit late in the line. But a great time. Look at that, into 13th position, 1.16 behind. Great start. Somewhere on here, supposed to be. There he is. Stefano Izzato for the Italian team. Going okay, coming towards the bottom now. We are chucking them out of the gate very, very quickly. (22nd position). That's into the mix, into the top 30. Still get top. You get a second run lower down the order on the European Cup Tour, but it's still only reverse of the top 30. So the top 30 is still the target, obviously, for these races as they try and pick up points. And a decent run into 22nd position.
The athlete is standing just a second.
Oh, that's nasty from the Norwegian. That's could be a nasty one. Good to see him up on his feet because what you want to see. And made of stern stuff, tough stuff, and he bounces up to his feet. Back up to the top then. Joshua Sturm for the Austrian team. We have finally got some Austrians in this one. Joshua Sturm, points in slalom, if memory serves correctly. On course after that nasty crash from Kindem of Norway. Good opportunity for us just to see how this top section is holding up, still in the shadow. So you know that it's still compact underfoot. Big error. And definitely must be chopping up again, struggling to see the snow surface from the angle that we're at, but Joshua Sturm, half a second off. There we go. 34th on the ground, but not bad effort considering that juiced onto the heels. Needs to keep that battle and keep that fight up. Good work from Joshua Sturm through the middle part, maybe just giving away a bit more time than he was hoping for. Big plume of snow, but plenty of athletes have had issues over these rollovers. Now Sturm needs to try and stay ahead of the racing line. Stand on his outside ski solid. Whoa, let's see what he's getting on. How close is he able to stay? Because this looks like a quick finish from Sturm. Tough turns early on, great turns down the bottom and into a top 20, 1.66 behind. Eddie Hallberg, what a season this man has been having on the slalom on the World Cup Tour. He's been 8th in slalom on the World Cup Tour. Confidence sky high from the Finn, really putting in the performances on the slalom skis in World Cup. Hasn't done it yet on the GS skis, but showing, look, that he's got some great GS form. Stands nice and tall on the skis. Great starts right in the middle. Just means that if he does get juiced around, gets pushed out of position, he's got somewhere to go. As Hallberg, another tidy turn, 1.04 down, getting late in the line. Solid pole climb as he tries to execute the game plan down the lower turns. And he's going to put himself in the mix here. Another really good performance. His European Cup form is on point as well. Into 13th, 1.2 1.12 behind. Again, that will show messages to the top of the course. Is in a great position. That is the next guy in the gate, but already on the way down is Sporer of the Swiss team. 0.63, 1.58 on the second. Hallberg showing these later starters there's plenty of opportunity on the tour at the moment. Whoa, couldn't quite deal with the pressure, and shows you how steep this final section is. Not going to stop. He's going to hit the advertising hoarding. Not quite. Well, at least he's got something for the gram as he comes to a stop. Continuing on, though, Cooper Packet at the top. This is a Cooper Packet, apologies. William Saint-Germain. And great to see him with his World Cup debut last time out. So good to see that he's finally putting himself back on a World Cup, but back into the mix. He's had so many injuries, as ever. Injuries part and parcel of ski racing, but this guy really struggled to keep that body in one piece, getting late down these lower sections. What's the split saying as he comes towards the bottom? I can tell you anyway. He was 2.27 down on the last time indicator as he comes towards the bottom. 3.38, a bit further away. Apologies, not quite able to keep up with the DNF from the last round up. Right, Cooper Packet next on course in the American teams. Started the World Cup in, was it in Soldeu? I think it was, no, Soldeu. Schladming. Failed to finish, but got some good footage for his Instagram as he got catapulted into the air, if memory serves me correctly. And he comes down these early turns. The American in the mix. He is in the mix. Wow, look at that. Is that accurate? If it is accurate, he's absolutely flying. 0.24 ahead, if that's true. My computer screen says it was 0.29 behind. We'll see at the next time indicator which one's more likely to be accurate. Some good transitional turns. Juiced onto the wheels. Fixes that up pretty quickly. He's not 43 seconds behind. I think my computer's looking a bit more accurate at the moment. 0.74 behind at that second intermediate. Comes over towards this final steep. They're now to 1.03. Packet going great guns. If he can just keep it clean and tidy through these closing turns, he's got an opportunity to squeeze his way into a top 15. Just looking a little bit lethargic. Energy levels looking depleted for the American. There you go. Time indicators back where they need to be as Packet now. Good tuck towards the finish line and a top 15 the reward. Good ski. Look at that. From bib 44. Great stuff. 1.18 behind. On course at the moment, Battisti is not bad either. 1.14 behind on that next time indicator. One of those that with a clean middle section, good early pressure on the ski, but these offset swinging turns that the French team have set proving very, very difficult indeed. What is he coming toward? 1.46 again behind the top 30. That's got to be the target because then you'll start early. 3.38. That will be beaten definitely. So we haven't really got a competitive 30 just yet. 2.19 behind. That will be a nervous wait to see whether that's good enough to get onto a second run start. It's Eric Reed on course. That's Mathieu Faivre of the French team that's in the start gate. But we're looking at Eric Reed, who's been finally picking up some points on the World Cup tour. It took him a while. He's got such a calm, cool, relaxed style. Can he use that to good effect down here? 0.42. Next time indicator coming up. What's he at? 1.07. Not too bad either. Find a couple of tenths down here and you can squeeze your way into a top 15, which will give him a great chance for a second run. Onto his inside ski, getting bounced around slightly as well. Oh, living dangerously, trying to keep the skis arcing and Reed across the line. Loses a bit more time in that final split, but into 21st. Should have an early start on the second run. Former world champion Mathieu Faivre. Been a long time since he's been on that form. He's been battling to try and find that sort of form. Previous World Cup winner, multiple occasions, world champion, a couple of world champs ago. And let's see if Faivre can find his form because he's struggling to get anywhere close to that form, and those struggles look like they're continuing. Needs to try and get inside the top 30. This guy's been bashing his head against the brick wall with his skiing over the last couple of seasons. And Ferre coming through the last couple. These are top 30. Oh, he's into 30th position. Oh, will that be enough for a top 30? I won't have too long to find out. Bib 48, Ryder Sarchet of the American team next.
There he goes, finish line for Ryder
Sarchet into 26th position, under 2 seconds off. That'll be enough for, should be enough for an early start, as we see Kilian Pramstaller next to the Austrians, finally from Austrians. They've been struggling on the World Cup Tour. They've been struggling by the look of it on the European Cup Tour as well. And let's see how he gets on. What are we, 73 starters on the list here. Oh, long way off though. That's not going to be good enough for an early bib on the second run. If it should, with all these DNFs, you're basically guaranteed a second run start, but still only the top 30 reversed.
William Pramstaller.
0.42 off. Oh, Torvinen, 1.72. The top 30 right now, starting to become a little bit more competitive in terms of what it's going to be a take to squeeze in, and it is 2.21 at the moment. So Torvinen outside of that one at the moment. That's the target. You've got to be under 2 seconds really if you want to be an early starter on the second run. Back up then, as we saw 3.22 for Torvinen, onto Leo Baraldi for the French team. French team set the course. Baraldi having a bit of struggles on his way down. Another 20 starters to go. Ooh, Baraldi struggling. Look at that, 4 seconds off. Not really making any major errors either. So, oh, and very, very late in the line, misses the gates. That was writing was on the wall. Back up to the top, racer in the small screen. Now into the big screen is Mark Steiner from the Austrians. He is going quite cleanly. It's losing time now, finds himself, I can tell you, the top split was 0.7. There you go. Their splits are on screen now. 2.23. That is the 30. Oh, he's down and out. Now the racer bites the dust on an easier part of the course. The Austrian coaches may have a thing or two to say about errors like that, as that next racer lying down. This is Thomas Lardon. Thomas Lardon, isn't that what they put in a pasta sauce? The old lardons. Thomas Lardon on his way down, 0.33 off. Good top split. Can he find something smooth and clean? Good work, just getting juice onto the heels over these rollers. Needs to find the front of the ski. 0.84, really good split, finding himself inside the top 20 on the ground at the moment. And some good quality turns. Here he comes. This is looking very good. Last time indicator, 20th. That's what that would put him at 1.12. If he can stay within a second and a half, he's got top 20 on his hands after this first run. No, releasing the ski nice and early as well. Desperately trying to stay in. Oh, no, he's thrown it away. From bib 53, an opportunity of getting inside the top list. He's got himself a time, but obviously that will not stand. Really, real shame, massive shame, because old Lardon was getting close and surely was skiing inside the top 20 there. Peder Lunde next on the course for the Norwegian team. Opportunity for us to have a look at how the course is holding up. Two tenths off and that top split, looking very comfortable indeed, standing nice and tall, getting good grip early in the turns. Oh, fixes up that little mistake quickly. This is quick skiing. Very good indeed. Lunde over that break, and it keeps getting caught towards the heel, managing to just have the strength and the ability just to get back over the front, even when he ends up on the heels. 0.84, great skiing from Lunde. Oh, 1.39 again. This is the tough final turn, so don't throw it all away. Now this is where the mistakes are creeping in and the line getting later and later. Don't throw it all away. All the good work done on those top turns seeming to elude him slightly as he comes towards the bottom, trying to find his space in the 30. 26th position. Oh, yes. That's very decent. That is. That should be enough for an early start on run number 2. Long way off for Hannes Aman. Over 4 seconds off. Oof. Long way off the pace. Not the run he was been hoping for.
39 for Hannes Aman.
Well, the course is still there, the slope's still there, conditions definitely still are there for these later starters, even though we're coming towards the end of things. If you have the ability and have the willingness to risk and have a flyer, put it all on the line, you've got an opportunity. But Piazzo not being able to do that point, what is he going to be, a good second or so away from an early start on the second run. 37, so many different finishes. Basically guaranteed a second run here. Eric Giscaz on for the Norwegian team, coming towards the bottom, 1.11 off. Anything under 1.5 at this next split would be decent. But just as we cut him on the big screen, the air is starting to push him outside of the line. 2.14, and that's basically what you need to be inside the 30. Battisti is in 30th at 2.19 behind. That's where you want to be. That's where you need to be. As Giscas across the line. What is he off? 2.68 behind. Not quite where he wanted to be. Jakob Eisner next on course for the Austrian team. And definitely difficult with these conditions. Bulletproof underfoot. The judders will certainly be there tonight. These racers having difficulties. Back up to the top as we see Hugh McAdam, another racer that's been putting in plenty of World Cup starts. Oh, getting twisted up at the top of this run as well. Ooh, 1.67 behind. Ooh, that's a bit further away than McAdam would have been hoping for. like the skis are biting into the snow as much as you would hope for. Finds himself quite a long way behind, 4.27. Still got another 10, 12 races. All looking to try and find an early starter. McAdam getting beaten up a little bit by this hill. Can't quite be in charge of what's going on. And not what he was hoping for on there. Oscar Heine next on course as you see him coming down. What is he off on the first time indicator? He was 0.59 behind now. Finds himself at just under 2 seconds off. 1.95 at the second time indicator. Oh, going very direct. That's going to cost him more time. Unfortunately, we just lost our timing graphics from the screens. There you go. Back on the screen. .2 behind. Going to take something real special from these later starters. Can't get themselves into the mix. The Pistas is still in a great condition, definitely able to challenge, but quality skiing throughout this field really means that it's going to be a tough chance. Marinus Stenhofer next on course for the German team, struggling with the time he is away from our leaders at the moment. Stenhofer struggling to get to grips with this hill. Unsurprising, these later starters, the conditions very tricky. It's compact, it's icy, slick. That ice is pretty slick as well, and the hill really throws everything at you. Decent rolls, decent fallaways on both sides, some steep to flat transitions that need to be nailed. So you really have to be on your game right from the very beginning. We see Emile Bauer next on course for the French team, 2.99 away. Again, huge uphill challenge for anybody that's that far off at these early time indicators. Not to be for Emile.
Mistake by Frenchman. Book.
Lucas Passruder for the Austrian team.
Finish line for Lucas Passruder, position 39. His time.
Charlie Woodbridge next on course for the French team. Get another racer with British heritage. Quick recovery, but again, still not quite able to find the touch, and now really struggling coming towards these steeper turns. Maybe just having the confidence not. Ralph Seidler next on course for the Austrian. Next to the Austrians on as we start to come towards the end of this first run. Plenty of starters here, plenty of athletes wanting to come and try and find the form, try and find something special, but a very tricky hill. Great conditions, great opportunities for the starters throughout the whole field, but so compact underfoot. Really making it difficult unless you're stood right in the middle of the hill, the skis, and being perfectly balanced, being right, committed. You're going to struggle. And as you can see from Ralph's side, that struggle is real. And the struggle is no more as he pulls the pin. Thomas Rayner next to the Austrians on his way down. Interesting suit for an Austrian. Might be Austrian setup unless we've got him slightly wrong in terms of that is Rayner. Obviously not past the Austrian setup, not skiing in part of the Austrian ski suit. Fabio Alesina next to the Italian team. Again, look at this, the time just getting away from these later starters. It'll take a heroic effort, really is. Not bad skiing, it's just so difficult. Once the course starts to just chop up just a little bit. Tricky set, nothing too difficult in there.
Finish line for Fabio Alesina.
Well, Alesina was 3.85 off, back to the top for the next of the French races. This is Arthur Food. Oh dear, really struggling in those top turns. And struggling to stay inside the line, and that is, well, good to see him putting in a bit of a decent effort in staying in the course, but that's going to cost him some lot of time. .97 off, no chance of getting into that top 30. I'm pretty sure with the amount of DNFs we've had, we should be able to get everybody on for the second run, as we see. .3 off for Gabriel Gutierrez. Well, that's apologies. That was food. Getting ahead of myself slightly. Coming towards the end of things then. 2 races left to go. But Gabriel Gutierrez of the Andorran team. Great to see Andorra getting some representation down here. They've got 2 starters. And Gutierrez, 2.21. Trying to put on a performance on home snow. Will know this hill like anybody, better than anybody else. Down towards this final steep, needs to stand on his outside ski solid. It's so difficult with this ice. Oh, losing his skis, and somehow great battle to be able to stay in. Gabriel Gutierrez at 48th position, 5.11 behind. And then our last racer, Alvaro Calvo Santos. And too calm, cool, relaxed, good stuff. Nice to see him putting in a decent, smooth run. Coming down this last pitch as we come towards the end of our decent field here. 73 starters. And solid skiing. And 5.43 behind. That does bring us to the end of this first run. 73 starters. A couple of did not starters, but over 70 in the start list. all coming to try their luck on this European Cup tour. Excuse me. This is how it stands. Drukarov at the sharp end of things, very, very tight. Look at that. It's down to 7th within 0.3 of a second. Then it jumped a little bit. The top 10 under 0.8 of a second. I have to say, this hill really does throw everything at you. And it is a tough, tough hill. Really proving difficult. Look at those, 37 and 44 into the early parts of the second round. And Pedalunda from 54 will be going relatively early doors on the second run. The top 30 are reversed. Everybody will get a start on the second run. And that's how it works in European Cup. If you're just tuning in, if you haven't been able to watch too much European Cup racing before, as we look down the list, as Drukarov sets the target time. We saw a couple of big advantages in front of Drukarov earlier on, but they failed to finish. And Drukarov putting in a decent run, the real sort of calling card of his run with some monster turns right in the middle through those flatter sections. Great to see some really high quality racing.
Santi?
Plenty of did not finishes. Sort of the nature of this track being so difficult. Well, here's how things line up. Eric Heiserd Solberg, 3rd position from bib number 16. Some quality turns from Solberg. It's a decent advantage at the top. Found some time through the bottom section. Then Elise Canafanara, 2nd position. The French team set the course, and Elise Canafanara, 2nd position for the Frenchman. Huge advantage at the top. Found himself 0.4 of a second, best part of in front, then just went and missed. That was where Drukarov really found his time. Didn't get into the grips of this first run too early on, but really then through that middle part, just getting to grips. Then a couple of mistakes down the bottom. All shaping up to be a very, very tight second run. 0.16 of a second lead that Drukarov has over Elise Canafanara, but it's tight. 0.3 separating 1st to 7th. Less than a second separating the top 10. We're coming back at you. What time are we coming back for the second run? Second run starting at just 12 o'clock. We come on air 5 minutes before the start. As then we will be running through the second run start list. There you go. Confirmation, 12 o'clock UK time. Sorry, apologies. That is 1 o'clock Central European time. Central European time on the ground. 1 o'clock, so just an hour and a half's time until we start the second run.